Hey, what's going on guys? Daniel here, and in this video, we're going to talk about what all this Yellen is about. Hey, what's going on guys? Daniel here, one half of the Kwok Brothers, and in this video, we're going to talk about a proposal recently released by Janet Yellen proposing a minimum global corporate tax. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I'm going to be using a couple news sites. The first one's going to be from Financial Times. So this is right off the Financial Times online article referring to what Janet Yellen has proposed. Okay, so Janet Yellen, the US Treasury Secretary, has called on other countries to join Washington in setting a global minimum tax for companies. So I gotta be very honest with you, when I first read this article, for some reason, the first thing that popped in my mind was the Great Reset, right? Because one of the premises of the Great Reset is a global economy, it's a global force, and it's pretty much global leaders coming together to pretty much take away the privacy of mankind. So anyways, that's for another video. Okay, as she vowed to reassert America's leadership in international economic policy. Together, we can use a global minimum tax to make sure the global economy thrives based on a more level playing field in taxation of multinational corporations and spurs innovation, growth, and prosperity, Yellen said in a speech to Chicago Council of Global Affairs on Monday. Yellen's appeal on the eve of the spring meetings of the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank comes as Biden administration puts a crackdown on tax avoidance and tax shelters at the heart of its economic agenda. So I'm going to continue on with the same topic with another article from AP News. But before we go ahead and do that, let's first talk about why this is happening. I think, with anything else, it's important to talk about what's happening, but more so to understand why it's happening in the first place. So I think it's very simple. The government is going broke. They're losing money left and right. And think about, when you were growing up, and, let's hope that you never had to deal with this. But if your family was going through hard financial times, what were the things that usually happen, right? You, mom or dad, most likely picked up another job. You guys probably started selling off a lot of things you don't need to make ends meet. And well, the government necessarily can't do that, right? They're not like a private organization where they can start selling off assets to liquidate themselves. And they also technically don't produce anything. All the resources, money, and power that they currently have is really from us, the people, right? They do it in the form of taxes to take money from us, the hardworking Americans. Now, granted, a lot of that money should, I'm going to use the word should, be going to the greater good, but they don't produce anything. That's the point I'm trying to make. I mean, think about what's been happening the last 12 months, right? We've seen thousands and tens of thousands of businesses permanently closing. We've seen millions of Americans, losing their job, being unemployed, to now today where we see the same people now taking money from the government as opposed to giving money to the government in the form of taxes. Because when they were working, they were making money, taxes were being taken out of their wages and their salaries, which went to the government. And now they're actually having to take money from the government in the form of, stimulus, in the form of unemployment, in the form of, PPP, all these different programs that governments had to intervene to make sure that the economy was quote unquote doing okay. Well, there's consequences to that, right? And ultimately, this is why I believe economics should be taught in school. Guess who's seeing the effects of it? Well, we are, the hardworking Americans, and they're taking it out on the middle class and those who actually produce jobs in this country. And when looking at Janet Yellen's proposal for a minimum global tax rate all across the board, well, it kind of reminds me of what California is trying to do with their citizens who leave California for the same reason that California is trying to do right now, which is to institute a tax for 10 years where it taxes individuals even after they leave the state. So I don't know, it's bonkers to me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Okay, let's go back to AP News. So this is what AP News said. Competitiveness is about more than how the US headquartered companies fare against other companies in global mergers and acquisition bids. Yellen said in the virtual speech to the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, it is about making sure that governments have stable tax systems that raise sufficient revenue to invest in essential public goods. Now, I'm of the opinion that they already have sufficient revenue. The mismanagement, I believe, is where the problem is. But again, that's my opinion. That's neither here nor there. What are the potential public goods Janet Yellen's referring to? AP News continued by stating that President Joe Biden has proposed hiking the U.S. corporate tax rate to 28% from 21%, partially undoing the Trump's administration cut from 35% in its 2017 tax legislation, which, by the way, 21% to 28%, that's a 33% increase on taxes, which I think is a little bonkers. Biden also wants to set a minimum U.S. tax on overseas corporate income and to make sure it's harder for companies to shift earnings offshore, which, by the way, the last 10 years, you got companies like Burger King is now headquartered in Canada, Budweiser in Belgium, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, all in Ireland. And by the way, even if you look at Ireland as a whole, right, you have numerous companies who have moved their headquarters to Ireland for tax reasons. The increase would help pay for the White House's ambitious $2.3 trillion infrastructure bill, which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen the breakdown for that $2.3 trillion, not a lot of it, in my opinion, is going towards infrastructure. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on Joe Biden's $2.3 million infrastructure proposal. Okay, my thoughts on Janet Yellen's proposal for a minimum global corporate tax rate. Here's my first and foremost thought. It's very unlikely that other countries are going to get on board with what Janet Yellen's proposing in terms of instituting a minimum global tax rate. Let me give you guys an example. Imagine you are a basketball player and you play for Team A. And let's say you are a deadly three-point shooter, right? You're like the Steph Currys, the Ray Allens, the Reggie Millers, the Klay Thompsons, and you absolutely love the three-point shot, right? That is your bread and butter. Imagine if the owner of Team A, the team that you currently play on right now, hates three-pointers, and he institutes a rule within his own organization that any player cannot shoot more than one three-pointer game. Now, this obviously makes you upset because that is your bread and butter. That is how you score. That is ultimately how you make your living. So ultimately, you move teams. Let's say you request a trade or another team recruits you, Team B. And the owner of Team B allows you to play however the way you want, right? Team B owner recognizes, hey, you're a great three-point shooter. I'm going to allow you to shoot unlimited amounts of threes. Let's say that one day the owner of Team A sends a message to the entire league, right? There's, let's say, 20 teams on this league, right? And he sends an email to the entire league. He says, hey guys, I have this proposal that we're going to ban three-pointers from being played in the game of basketball. There's no more three-pointers in our league. Why on earth would the owner of Team B ever agree to that proposal when his way of getting you to join Team B was to tell you, hey, you're going to be able to shoot unlimited amount of three-pointers, which, by the way, when you're on Team B, you score way more points because you're allowed to shoot as many threes as you want, meaning that you make more money because of endorsements, right? You're now an NBA All-Star, right? People recognize your name. You've done significantly better for your own personal career being on Team B as opposed to Team A. So again, if you're the owner of Team B and if you yourself are the player, why would you agree to Team A's proposal? Because clearly Team A's proposal, right, the owner of Team A, his proposal is way better for him. It's advantageous. So it's very similar. If you're a country like Ireland, or if you're a country like Canada or Belgium, or these other countries that US companies have moved to for tax reasons, why on earth would you agree? If you're the president of Ireland, or if you're the ambassador, I don't know how their political system works there. If you're the leader of Ireland, why would you agree to it? Because the very fact that you're attracting businesses because of your tax structure, it's brought not only more jobs, it's brought more opportunity, it's seen a significant economic growth. And also for those of you guys that are into real estate, like I'm a real estate guy, pay attention to what happened to the Ireland housing and real estate market the last 5 to 10 years. It's boomed. It's absolutely skyrocketed because of all the businesses that have moved to Ireland because of their very favorable tax structure. So again, to wrap it up, there's no way other countries are going to agree with it. Matter of fact, I'll take it a step further. I think it's absolutely going to backfire because guess what? While Janet Yellen is doing this, guess what Joe Biden's doing? He's increasing the tax rate from 21% to 28%. So you not only are proposing something that most likely no other country is going to agree to because it's their advantage, it's their economic advantage, but also on the other end, you're giving an incentive for corporations to leave even more and to spend less money domestically here in the US. So again, those are my thoughts. I personally believe in the next 5 years, you're actually going to start seeing businessmen and companies move out of the US more so now than ever. So again, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Okay, so I get this question a lot, right? Daniel, with this, Joe Biden's new tax increase from 21 to 28%, what do we do? How do we respond to this? So here's my thoughts. Here's what I'm personally going to do, and here's what I believe you guys should do. First and foremost, it's very hard to fight it, right? I mean, if you consider what the political economic landscape looks like, and guys, for me personally, for those guys that are asking, I identify myself as neither nor Republican or Democrat. I consider myself to be educated. If you look at the entire system with banking, with the insurance industries, with monetary policy, fiscal policy, they're really not there to help you. That's just my opinion, right? Maybe I'll get shadow banned, right? I don't know. Who knows? But I feel like it's my duty to at least tell you for those of you guys watching this video. So first and foremost, it's very hard to fight it. If I were you, I would actually find ways to get in front of it. Pay attention, look at the breakdown of this infrastructure bill and figure out where the money is going and find ways for you as an entrepreneur to take advantage of that, to benefit off of the money that's going for the infrastructure bill. So one of the things that I believe a lot of people can be doing is, if you're a real estate investor or developer, reach out to your municipality where you're doing the deals and ask them, what are the needs, right? Figure out where all this money is going in terms of municipalities, the improvements, and look to invest there and develop there and ultimately make a business around it. That's actually what I'm doing currently right now. I'm actually investing in a county in a state down south. It's actually one of the top 3 fastest growing counties in America. Not a lot of people know about it. And I'm right now in the midst of building relationships with leaders, whether it be religious, whether it be municipal, whether it be social. And I'm asking them, well, what are the needs of the county? What are the real estate and housing needs of the county? And how can I come alongside and align myself with what the county is looking to do? And it's worked out very well for me because a lot of real estate investors and developers, they'll have a strategy. They'll say, well, my strategy is to build multifamily, and they'll find a market that's doing well and they'll just try to force their strategy as opposed to figuring out what the needs are, what are the little pockets and windows where I can get the most bang for my buck. So if I were you guys, that's what I do. That's what I'm currently doing right now, which, by the way, if you're an accredited investor and you like to see what the opportunities that I'm referring to and you like to participate, email us at info@thekwokbrothers.com. The email will be in the description below. Click on it, email us if you're interested in getting more information. So again, guys, overall, let me hear your comments on these thoughts, right? We talked about a lot of different things, all the way from Janet Yellen's proposal for the global minimum tax rate, Joe Biden's tax rate increase, what it's going to ultimately do, the consequences that's happening with the economy. I want to hear your guys' thoughts and feedback so I can learn as well. So again, guys, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.